Hi everyone, and welcome to the next edition of Wazoodle Notes. In case you missed our first video, Wazoodle Notes is our version of Cliff's Notes, and I know you remember those. Those were those amazing little booklets that would give you the overarching concept of the book so you didn't have to do the hours of reading. Well, same thing goes here. Our blogs aren't quite hours long, but it is, 10 or 15 minutes of your time. So in this video, in a couple of minutes, we're just going to review our latest blog. And that blog is called Smart Fiber, the difference between technical and conventional fabrics. So let's jump in. So what is the difference between technical and conventional fabric? It's really important to understand that technical fabrics can also be termed conventional, meaning they can have aesthetically pleasing values. In fact, they should, right? But conventional fabric, which is only created for the sole purpose of being aesthetically pleasing, can never cross over and become technical. So technical fabric can become conventional due to aesthetically pleasing properties as well as the smart properties, but conventional, it ain't gonna be smart. At Wazoodle Fabrics and AKAS, which is our manufacturing arm, we create smart, technical, conventional fabrics. That's right. So ours are smart fabrics that have a technical end use in mind, meaning that the fabric is meant to absorb or to wick moisture or control moisture in some way. It can be used to resist fire. It can be used to be an aid in medical applications. It can be used for sports applications. It has a purpose, right? With the conventional fabrics, it's just made to look pretty. So fabric that's made to look pretty doesn't really need a lot of thought put into it. The basic idea is put out there. I want a cotton interlock, or I want a polyester blend woven. And it pretty much ends there. Maybe there's more thought put into the color that it becomes or the print that's put onto it at the end, but really there's not a lot of delving deep into the fibers and figuring out the construction and how they interact with each other to produce an end result that creates something that builds value, something that the public wants and needs. So let's go to the beginning. Fabric is made from fiber that's spun into yarns, and then those yarns are put into a knitting machine for our applications, as we make mostly knit fabrics. So it goes into the knitting machine, and then after the fabric is created from the machine, it gets scoured and dyed. If there's a print, the print is applied to it, and then it gets a final treatment. And in this final treatment, that's when the amazing properties get put into it. So if it's going to be absorbent, or if it's going to be antimicrobial, or something of that nature, that gets applied to the final fabric to finish it, hence finishing. That would be the way any fabric is constructed. When you're working with smart or technical fabrics, it is critical to think through the fiber 100% of the way, meaning how is it going to interact on its own, what are its own properties, and then how is it going to interact when presented up against another fiber and that fiber's inherent properties. So when it comes to the construction of the fabric as a means to an end to deliver absorption or wicking or something of that nature for you, people like our very own Sid Sharma, who is the president of AKAS Manufacturing and who is also our textile engineer, he sits down and he really thinks about the fiber that he's going to be working with and how to arrange that fiber in a very specific knit construction that will create an end product that does what he sets out to have it do. So, for example, our Zorb. Our Zorb is incredibly absorbent, and the reason that it's so absorbent and works so well is because of its hills and valleys construction. So think of it like a wave. A wave comes up, crest comes down. So it has a hill and it has a valley. And that is exactly what you will get in the dimpled fabric of our Zorb 3D and 4D. Now, our original Zorb is not a dimpled fabric. That is a more fibrous fabric. It's not knit, it's not woven, it's more fibrous, and it has to be sandwiched in between two other layers in order to be used properly. Our 3D and 4D already has the sandwiching happening. So the original Zorb is actually in between the exterior layers, and in those layers we have these dimples. So when water hits the fabric, it doesn't just pull up on the surface and cause it to be soaked and uncomfortable feeling. It takes the water and it disperses it because of that hills and valleys construction, and it pulls the moisture away from your skin and into the dimples, which is what makes it such an amazing fabric. So the construction is incredibly important, though the fiber interaction. What's going to happen when I take one fiber and I put it up against another fiber? What will happen when they connect? What won't happen when they connect? That's the thought process that goes into making smart, technical fabrics. Any other fabric, again, it's just a matter of this is the basic fabric we want it to look pretty, and the thought process ends there. Most organizations within the textile sector are serving a very specific niche, and they care more about the fabric's performance than the aesthetics or the appearance of it. We care about the performance as well as the aesthetic, and we fit within certain niches, yes, but we inspire many people to think outside the box. And so because of that, we transcend markets, and the end uses for our products is really only limited to the imagination of the person creating with it. The other thing that really sets us apart at Wazoodle from the rest is the fact that we create these smart technical fabrics without using harmful, toxic chemicals and solvents. We get the same end result, if not better end results, without those harmful additives that most people have to get using them. And that's what we really pride ourselves on, is that we're not harming you as the individual utilizing it or wearing it, and we're not harming Mother Earth in any way to create our end product. So we've already talked about Zorb, right? And the dimple construction. We also have another brand that's called our ProSoft. And our ProSoft PUL specifically is a waterproof fabric that takes the polyurethane layer and the constructed knit layer, and it puts them together in a way where they move as one instead of as two individual pieces that have a heat bond connecting them. What happens when you have the two individual pieces is that they kind of move out of time with each other. And so that creates a crinkling, crackling, loud effect for anyone wearing the fabric or utilizing it in any way. So we call ours silent waterproof fabric. Instead of using heat to bond the two layers together, we cure them with the moisture in the air. And so it creates this silent waterproof, and it also leads to a really soft and supple fabric, which is really surprising. When you think of waterproof, you don't think of soft and supple and quiet. You think of kind of gnarly, crackling, uncomfortable, stiff, right? So you can see that there's a little bit of stretch here, but there's a nice amount of stretch on this end of it, right? So we've got that one-way stretch happening with the polyurethane layer and then the soft knit construction layer on the other side. So that's our ProSoft PUL. Beyond the Zorb for absorbent, the ProSoft for waterproof, we have our ProCool series of fabrics. And ProCool is just what it sounds like. It's a cooling fabric. So Sid, our textile engineer extraordinaire, came up with a way to have two different fibers interact with each other in a manner that draws moisture away from the skin in one direction. So it wicks it away in one direction and it throws it to the outside layer of the fabric. So the outside of the fabric now has the moisture on it, and that moisture evaporates into the air. away from your skin. So instead of having a top that's clinging to you with wetness and uncomfortableness, you have a breathable top where the moisture is being drawn away from your skin, put outside to the environment, and then having that moisture evaporate into the air in a very easy, breathable manner. So it feels good to exercise in our fabrics. It feels good to have it up against your head when you're sleeping if it's on a pillowcase or something of that nature. So that's our ProCool line. Finally, we have our ProEco line of fabrics, and that's made up of bamboo and organic cotton. And what we do is we have a proprietary deep extracting process that removes any of the absorbent inhibiting properties from the fibers, and that results in a fabric that is ready to absorb right out of the box without the need to pre-wash, which is pretty amazing. It also takes away 80 to 90% of the shrinkage of the fabric. And what that means to you is that the first time you wash maybe a pair of leggings that you make out of this incredible stretch interlock that we have, they're not gonna fit different the first time you wash them. The seams aren't gonna twist. It's not gonna have any of the issues that you get with a lot of cottons and a lot of natural fibers with the shrinkage. So, absorbent right out of the box and 80 to 90% of the shrinkage removed. That's our ProEco line. We are a zero waste manufacturing company, and that means exactly what it sounds like. We aim to waste nothing. And sometimes that can be tricky. So in the manufacturing process, when we're bringing new fabrics and innovations to market, sometimes they don't always come out 100% perfect as far as the aesthetics are concerned. So what do we do when that happens? Well, if there's a missing or broken needle, or the machine settings are off, or it's just a sample test, we take those resulting fabrics and we reposition them and bring them to you at a hugely discounted price. And we call them our seconds and our devs. And they're really great value. Just because they're not aesthetically perfect doesn't take away any of their technical components. So you can use them as a means to an end to configuring your end product. You can see which fabrics work, which don't work, and how to utilize them properly for your end goal. Click the link in the description below and take a look at the actual blog. There's some videos in there and some cool visuals that'll help you understand all of this maybe a little bit better. And once you're there, please take a moment and explore, because everything you want to know, I bet you it already lives on our blog. There are articles dating back to 2012 that our CEO wrote. It's just a wealth of information. And if you need us, never hesitate to reach out. Customer support at wazoodle.com. And beyond anything else, have fun creating. Thank you.